In this module, we will write our first Burp extension, as well as learn how to use Burp in an automated fashion. In the previous module, we saw how powerful Burp extensions can be. These Burp extensions are written by other users of the Burp product. But what if we wanted to write our own Burp extension? How would we go about it? In this section, we're going to learn how. First, realize that there are 3 languages that the Burp API supports: Java, Ruby, and Python. In this course, we're going to write our extension in Java. Now, in order to begin, you need to open your favorite Java Integrated Development Environment, or IDE, and create a new class called Burp Extender. Now, this class is going to implement an interface called iBurpExtender. What I'd like for you to do is place that class inside of a package called Burp. Now, the Burp package is significant because this is going to be the package that will contain all of the interfaces of the Burp API. Now, you're going to need to download these interface files, and luckily they are available within your Burp product. You'll need to go to the Extender module and the API tab. Now, at the bottom of that API tab, you will see a button that's labeled Save Interface Files. You click that and save the files to your hard drive, and then make them available inside of your IDE. Let's go ahead and go through these steps together in order to create our first Burp plugin. Now, I'm going to be using Eclipse IDE, but please feel free to use whatever editor of your choice that you like. So first, what we need to do is go ahead and download the API files. Let's do that by going to the Extender tab, APIs tab, and click this button that says Save Interface Files. Now it's going to prompt you for a location. Go ahead and save those files. Now once you have those files saved on your hard drive, you're going to need to import them inside of your IDE. Now, as you can see, I am using Eclipse for my Java IDE, and all of those interface files are now available to me in my Eclipse project. Now, what I'm looking at is the very first class that I asked you to create. The name of the class is Burp Extender. This source code will also be available to you for download, so you can import it into your own Java editor or IDE. So the first method that gets called is this register extender callbacks. You're going to give a name to your plugin. In this case, I'm calling it Issue Catcher. Why? Because I'm going to catch a particular issue by a certain name, and I'm going to change one of the values of that issue. Say it's the severity level. You're going to set your extension name. I also have some standard output lines that I'm printing because I want to see what exactly my extender is doing when I load it into my Burp product. I'm actually going to call the do passive scan via the API. In that passive scan, if I come across an issue that is labeled cross-origin resource sharing, I want to come into this if block, and what I want to do is I want to create a new scan issue. Now I'm going to grab the URL and the confidence level and the HTTP service for the existing issue, but I would actually like to set a new severity level to be high instead of the information level that it's set to now. And then I'm just going to print that information to standard out. Now, once again, the purpose for me showing you this is to give you an idea of how to work with the API. And the other part that you will need to do is at command line, you're going to need to create a jar file of your compiled code. So every time you make a change, you're going to have that compile, which in Eclipse it automatically gets compiled every time you make a change, and then jar up all of those class files so that you can then import that jar file into Burp. So in Eclipse, under the target directory, there's a classes folder. It's inside of there that I'm going to run my jar command. I'm going to create a file that is called issuecatcher.jar. I'm just going to jar up everything under my current package of Burp. So once that jar file gets created, I can go into Burp. I can go to the Options tab, and under the Java environment, I'm going to select that jar file. And I should receive this message letting me know that it loaded successfully. And you can see that it is now added in the list of burp extensions that I have loaded in this session. Now another nice feature is, remember all those standard outs that we put inside of the code? We're going to be able to see any kind of hits within that if block if we find any issues that happen to be this cross-origin resource sharing. Now realize that the other methods that can be overridden include ActiveScan and other such functionalities of Scanner that we've added to this class. We're just going to focus on doing a passive scan of our target and see if we get a hit. So realize that I am going against the juice shop. If you go back to Burp, I have the juice shop as my target. I'm going to right click and passively scan this host, and then I'm going to go to the extender and look at the output. It does indeed look like we have hit upon a cross-origin resource sharing vulnerability. The existing severity is information, and we set the new severity to be high. There's some other information here about the URL and the confidence level, etc. All of this information you can extract from those interfaces that you implemented within your class. So hopefully this gives you a beginner's look into how you would go about developing your own Burp plugin and customize its functionality to make it more powerful for your environment.